happening, y'all? No grand elevations. I actually want to lay down and go back to sleep. Yeah, sleep is so good. And I had a dream about somebody. It was a good dream. So how are y'all this AM? I believe it's still AM. I was going through the ancient roots last night, and I dozed off a little early like I thought. I watched Troll, suggested by a beautiful friend of ours, one of our sisters, and it's just 9:42. Awesome. And a lot of things I want to speak of. There was a few things. And it's funny how people address something with video. Excuse me. I need to wipe that off. And sometimes there are videos that I share, and so you get a notification. We have it set up now, so that I guess it's a targeted direction as far as who it's going to be shared with or whatever. As far as y'all call it AI and stuff. I don't like recognizing these names for these platforms, these things that are. There's a reason why I'm reading what I'm reading. First, let me start by saying this. You know what a light dimmer is for, right? You know what it does. It exasperates and then it increases, right? The output. So significantly decreasing and increasing the output, right? Of the current AC. In some places have DC, we deal with the 112, right? So we have a filament, supposedly in a vacuum powdered glass, created by Louis Latimer and a few other his brothers. We're talking about incandescent light bulb, okay? Well, any one of them really. At full or maximum output, the light is very, very bright. At less than that, even down to the 0.15 or something like I forget all that. It's another way of looking at it between me and some associates of mine. So the dimmer is to decrease the output and to increase it. And what would you do that for? Well, depending on the light bulb and its output and what it can as bright as it can be made, depending on what type of bulb you get, it can be very uncomfortable to the neural pathway. Your eyes are the window to the soul, they say. So you would dim it to make it more comfortable and palatable. And usually, if you're watching TV at night, it is very important to have light behind you, so that way it's not just a refraction. It's better protecting to your corneal, to all those little things in your retina and all that. Well, I was going to keep it like a secret and see this. Only a few you would actually get what I was going to state, but I'm going to be very clear with this. In this elevation of sorts, this walking on another pathway, getting not just we've been actually receiving on the left side, and this is due to programming, I believe. We've been receiving more of the feminine, the maternal, instead of the paternal enlightenment. We must adapt the right hemisphere for the paternal. It must be a balance. And in doing that, your body can get off a stronger aurora. And this is known. So you must be able to factor in that on this, I would hope, and I know it's not possible, so I have to do this. Oh, I'm not worried. Trust in me when I tell you this. You must learn as you're allowing yourself to illuminate a little more that you must be able to control it and keep it dim. That's all I'm going to say. It's that important, I guess you want to say. I didn't want to use that word. My beard, it grows straight and curly. So right now, I was just in the bathroom trying to keep it. So it's going to get long, y'all. I'm going to look like some Greek, whatever. For those who have seen me with my beard long, because it grows like that all the way down, all around. It grows very long and it kind of puffs into here a little bit. It's kind of but you'll see. So I can't help but notice it, and I'm like, there we go. I don't trim my beard like that, y'all. I just let it grow. In doing this, you will come to see, and I'm letting my hair grow for a purpose. And I had stated this before I started doing YouTube, that even when I let y'all know I was letting it grow in, I expressed it then. I'm letting it grow because it is very paramount and it is important. There's a time of knowing, and there's a time of knowledge, and there's a time of knowing. Knowing, be a little more silent. All right. Do not take it upon yourself to do what I'm doing. We have many that are doing that, and they are far from it. They are just vehicles of commerce, just so it's without really any meaning, and it's easy to tell, but it all plays a role, because ignorance will never know the truth. So you see Plato, what I put up there, right? Okay. Just don't look at something. Read it and have an understanding of why I put it up there. So, we see Biden wants to throw billions of dollars towards Africa. Now I'm illuminating the fact that how important it is that you stay below mediocre. I stated the fact that you're royalty, more powerful than you can believe. And I said, if the Pelicans actually knew this, you think they would carry themselves the way they do? No, they wouldn't. But their arrogance of their fictional ego that's attributed to things they're allowed to accomplish in the last 100 and some odd years is paramount to why they walk as if they think they have their boot on a hill. That's not going to stop nothing. That's just keeping them in a place of solidarity of just ignorance, no matter what they think. And even the melanated people who accomplish those same tasks, they are just offset of the ignorance and rob themselves of their illumination as well. So I'm going to say to you, if you still want to look at media, like their media, you're doing yourself more damage and not allowing yourself to illuminate. And it's not like you have that much time. Though time and patience is the most powerful weapon, what I mean is what you do with it. And some of y'all, I think, still are in this Haggadah just will, or tomorrow, maybe, possibly. You're always denying yourself what you should be doing right now. I don't care if I don't get 100,000 views or 1,000 views. I'm not going to simp for anything. Like I said, I'm not here for the masses. I'm here for the few. Good brother shared a video with me. And I was like, well, if you come over and watch my lives, or if you paid attention to what I said, brother, and I love them. Not chastising. This is a correction of predicament. And I was going to go into the long diatribe, but I didn't have the need to, of when I fasted for 14 days. I think it was 15 days while I was on the reservation. This is right before I exasperated all use and left. And during that fast, I had fasted a year before that, around the same amount of time. And I felt like I didn't want to eat at all. I didn't feel hungry. I didn't feel thirsty. Yet by drinking lime water, what I was doing was I was actually incorporating pollutants. When you fast, I mean real fast. Right now I'm just intermittent fasting because I'm eating. When you real fast, you're not supposed to eat nor drink anything. Your body is a composite of many factors beyond the scope of which you understand. And in order to tap into things, I can't, this, that, and you can't be pushing yourself. So I know that some of you are working, slaving, or whatever you want to call it, which purpose you believe exists. Obviously it does in the fictional world. Yet if those who are not, if you are to fast, you must make it your position to be steady, to be at ease, and to meditate, to prostrate. That means to put your face down in the dirt, the snow, the water, whatever. Regardless of what you know might be in there or coming down, it is to move beyond that. And your body has the ability not only to reconnect itself to many things, the factors of what it's capable of is beyond the scope of what you can imagine. Beyond it. And you literally have to give in. Beautiful sister shared this thing about asparagus. Chopping up the softest parts, blending it with a little lime and lemon, which is a fact. The same thing with okra if you want to go ahead and check your diabetes, if you want to get rid of it. But there comes a time, and I would say if you want to go ahead and fast, if you don't want to intermittent fast like I'm doing, go ahead and juice. But the problem with that is, are you getting enough fiber and fats? Because even though your body can start registering different, you're still putting things in your body, though it's helpful, that can ostracize itself. It could become toxic. So fasting means a disembarkment off the freight train and emptying out. Hobo tactics. That means getting on the train by yourself and getting off at a destination unknown. And allowing yourself to go through whatever it is. It's best to have someone around who's done it numerous times. The problem with most people, and I know this is to be a fact, but I've done it before, where I fasted for 2 or 3 days. And the moment I went back to eating, my body felt like it was unsatiated, and I would eat more after that good few days of cleanse. And then I would start pushing it a little further. But I wasn't meditating. I wasn't practicing breathing. I wasn't with good posture. I was just hoping somebody would go red, sit straight up. Well, how can I tell? We always have an excuse. Well, if you see outside yourself and but know that you're looking in, you would know when my posture is slumped. There's signs telling you when I am not sitting straight. There's gaping and there's a gap that must be filled. But when I sit straight up and allow my back to be as it should, then you see a whole different dynamic. The thing is attention. That is part of patience and time. That is not dimming the light. That is allowing your light to stand out in the most appropriate times. But even then, we have to be careful. Because walking around as such can allude to being an ego or other debilitating factors that we see in the regular life that we've lived. You have to allow yourself to be comfortable without compromising because of other people's feelings. Because if you're worried about their feelings, that means that you are not in touch with your true self. That means your feelings are still all over the way. All over the way. That means literally all over the way, or in the way, and all over the place. I am still a man, and that is better than being a hue of a man, or a part of mankind, or something unlike or likened to a man. See, they need to use all the consortiums around to make sure that we stay in a place that was never meant for you and I. Are you getting it? Are you paying attention? Now, this can work for everyone. The problem is, who needs to get it together right now is the melanated man and woman. Bottom line. It doesn't matter what you've seen, who could throw their leg up, and the little guy with the little samurai pawn on his head stretching all over the place. That's beautiful. But you see, that's a picture looking inside a picture instead of looking out at the greater picture and stating the facts that you need to do this. If I was one of them, I'd be grabbing like 20 brothers and sisters going, look, I need to show y'all this. Y'all really need to do this. Y'all need to do it more than anybody else. I'm grateful that I learned this, but there's some things I just can't tap into. I've gotten to a certain point. You see what I'm reading about the young man that wrote Atlantis, right? Deep into yoga, 7 to some odd 10 years, Kundalini, found that place. Well, I'm here to let you know you can go beyond that. It's not just about the knowledge. It's actually stepping into the knowing. And there's much beyond that. What am I doing right now? Well, I have my turmeric shot, and then I just poured some distilled water right in there with about 2 tablespoons of lime juice. So I'm actually alkalinizing my system, which is in a sense detrimental at the same time as healing. But I'm allowing this with a purpose. Now, I think and I target the right side of my brain as well as the left. I find a medium to mediate a certain output. So it's about you controlling a certain narrative. I'm not seeking to float up in the so-called sky, or whatever that is. Anyway, and I'm not seeking to fall apart and come together. No, it's bigger than that. And it's dang sure not to go outside some membrane or whatever. No. Some people had the issue with me when I spoke about religion, but I said, well, if you really had an understanding about different parameters and different vectors, you will know why you fight with not wanting to worship and focus more on yourself. Because see, the worshiping has always been a game, a gimmick. It's funny how wars can allow, and many orphan children who grow up who want to lash out, can change the direction of life and to its detriment. When I spoke on the fact that there was a gene splicing and there was something put in your DNA to make you want to worship but not know how or why, wouldn't that be very more prudent to be wanting a one of questioning for an answer? Why is it that people don't? And then those who don't question it appropriately, they go into this banter of hate and discontent, and they call themselves other labels. I'm an atheist, I'm agnostic, I'm a this, I'm a that. And they don't know how to be a man or a woman. And yet, in all the scripts, it's like a test by the enemy to see who's going to come on so that way they can pick who they're going to grab. Oh, I'm giving you a heads up, a warning. So they can go, oh, we got one that can see. You know, you don't have to see anything. You must know. Knowledge, people read tons of books like I do. I'm not even in the knowing. I just have an understanding of what I'm saying better than most. Yeah, you are capable of so much more. And even the little four-legged and two-winged and the critters on the ground, everything knows this when you start coming into the knowing. But you must be able to dim your light. Because if you're not able to, you're being very reckless and careless. Especially depending on the circles that you're involved with. You see, the moment I started speaking about a certain character, he stopped coming around. Dang sure wasn't about some $20. It's because I could see through him. And he was reckless and careless, regardless of who he believes he is or what he thinks he is. All the puppets at play think there's something other than what they are, yet they still content with it. Now, those who are doing exactly what needs to be done, as far as being the enemy or smiling in your face, making the phone calls to test the grounds of the water to keep you in your place, no, they walk with us and amongst us, not with us in comfort. They walk with us. So, I'm going to be doing a fast. Rondo, our brothers Rondo, Caramel, and Traumahawk will be coming up next Friday. Hopefully they can come stay the night or whatever for a day or two. And we can all crash downstairs, upstairs, wherever, it don't matter, and cook, eat, and go to the gun range and do some recording and blow up some tannerite and have fun. I'll probably get a couple of logs, everybody piling in the vehicles, whatever. Yeah, I'm not, you know. And we don't waste gas. And go to a place to set a little fire or something. And I'm going to show them something. I'm going to show them how to mitigate. What direction to face, what to look for in themselves. Now, I'm not going to say everything on here what I'm going to do. It's very important that they be able to share that as well. Some breathing. And I think it's going to be very helpful and healthy for them. But fasting after that, I'm going to embark on a 1 month fast. And I'm not going to be on here a lot, but I'm going to come on and do some lives very shortly. I'm still going to read. That's what I've been having. That's what I got the Cashapp on there for. So that way I can share other things with you. But I'm letting you know I'm going to do this 1 month fast. And so I have to prep myself. And two, I get to the point where I don't have to prep myself. And it would be a pleasure to see people at least attempt 3 to 7 days. It's arduous. It's rough when you haven't been doing it. You know, you think about our grandparents, and I shared some of that with y'all about my great grandmother, Tina Lee. She would get the red clay, went down there in the Carolina. She would put that with a little bit of the stream water. If we were a little clogged up, they get the castor oil, and we're talking about a different castor oil than stuff you're gonna buy today. And we get that in us, and we go to the bathroom, and I mean literally poop everything out. You know, we're little little chitlins. And we feel 110% better the next day, running around, zooming and everything. I remember the little chicken things. I remember, you know, the boiled egg and the cheesecloth or the sock, 100% cotton hanging in the doorway to grab. The funny thing is to grab something, and then when my great grandma would crack the egg, it would be red. She wasn't sitting there hand picking. She would just grab an egg, and she'd come out at night and put it in the sock. Something's not right. Next day, everybody be laughing and giddy. And then she'd take the egg and say, "Come here, let me show you something, Jimmy." And she'd crack it, and it'd be red, blood red. They knew what they were doing. Going out and getting the stinging nettle, you know, making nettle tea and pine. Everything had a purpose, the old ways. And we've allowed people to make us think that our old ways were some perversion. But why would they kill the ghost dancers before they can start dancing when they're getting ready to? Why would they slaughter the women and call them witches? And then in the fake Zionist Hollywood, paint them all out to be pale skinned. That's not what they wore. When you go and visit the grave sites, you see those buried around them. The stories of the women in Haiti singing and the men's teeth falling out their mouths, you know, or chanting, and the men dying right in front of them before they even get to fire their muskets. Yet, but we was always betrayed. And the story's changed so you can never see it. Well, I'm here to tell you today, you don't have to betray yourself. I know some of you smoke cigarettes, you smoke your weed, you drink, you have a drink every once in a while. I'm not telling you to stop that. I'm just saying, in order for you to find your higher self, you're going to have to stop something for a minute. maybe all things. And if you don't mind walking around in the vehicle you think you're driving, keep turning the ignition and pressing on the gas. Like I said, I'm not here to change everybody. Let me go ahead and get some reading right quick. Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Walls. All right, by Claudio Nocelli, one of our Latin brothers. I believe in actually in Espanol. Worlds Beyond Antarctica. Nos confundam. No confusion. Our post office isn't open on Saturday, so I can't pick up the packages. We have to wait until Monday and see what is there. Hopefully it hasn't been tampered with. Let's turn this down just a little bit more. Anything else I should address? Nah. Me telling you stop worrying about things outside of yourself, I mean that. You have to put it into practice for it to become a principle. Then a principle becomes a condition, right? So first we free ourselves from the patterns in us that allow these experiences and these conditions that we're in. And then meditation, study, self-observance. We can change the principles and have a different condition. I hope that made sense to any of you. So chapter 7, Giant Humans versus Custodians in the Known Lands. I should have read this first because I know that y'all actually like what I've read so far. Yet I'm gonna keep that for the other books with Enoch and Flatlandis, the Book of Giants. And like I said, I got a few of them now, so that one's pretty decent. Oh, the other two are right too, but that one, as far as Enoch and Flatlandis, I think it goes well. And then when Enoch and Flatlandis is done, then we can focus on that one with the heaven bearers, the reset, and then the mudslide, which is the last pictures. I meant to come on last night and just do it. I went to sleep about 9. I watched the Troll. Watch Troll. I actually had to pause it because I think I dozed off, woke up, and it was still going. I woke up. I think it was like 11:30. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't looking at the time. I was guesstimating, honestly. And I rewound it to where I remembered it stopping, and I watched it to the end, and I was like, "There's all little trinkets in there. They'll stand out when you start changing the way you mitigate yourself." And they were popping out, and I was like, "Wow!" And then when the one part I can't tell because it's near the end, something is recognized, and when the vector of change for a relationship of comfort and love, sometimes things can be too late. At least with self. That's the piece of tea I'm gonna give. And if you watch it, you'll see what I'm saying. But there's trinkets all through it. I think it's made in Norway, or it's Norwegian, or it's Latin, Sweden, or I don't know, somewhere over there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into Giant Humans. Excuse me. That felt good. Versus Custodians in the Known Lands. And when you fast, you're gonna be feeling. Intermittent fast too. You're gonna feel tired. The thing is, you got to do something. Just some light. Don't go beating yourself up. You'll be blacking out. You know. When the Custodians returned triumphant from the war, they found their colony totally revolutionized. Again, when the Custodians returned triumphant from their war, and that was with the Anunnaki, they found their colony totally revolutionized. Now there was a power they did not expect between giants and giant humans and angry humans revealing themselves for the years of slavery. These long years of giant humans developing and basing their technology on weapons of war and defense added to the fact that much custodial information was plundered and used for this development and scientific knowledge. which led to the climax of a race totally forgotten by the custodians. When they returned and analyzed the situation, they knew they could not carry on another war because of the casualties of the last one and all the expense that had been carried out to defeat the enemy. Obviously, they wanted to start an immediate reset, but their pyramids were destroyed and they had lost a lot of power in the manipulation of the environment. They thought and analyzed several strategies and waited to see how the conflict with the humans would develop, but fearful of this uncertain future. Now, I want to say something. When I was living in New York, and I used to go to the little synagogues and all this, anyway, the enemy's temples. And I remember people were pointing out, the pyramids of Giza, those were the last ones made by Enoch's children. And I was like, where is this coming from? Who is creating this fallacy? So are we to believe that the children of Enoch, or Noah, excuse me, the offspring of Noah, who are of Enoch, long line, were building this as a signal for his return? It's funny how many temples or so-called pyramids found even in South America have been encroached upon for thousands of millennia, even as Tartaria grew and we had power and we were safe. So the pyramids, man, please. Those were vectors to keep us done in. Tartaria, you see the buildings were beautiful, but they served a purpose to take the energy in the air and the atmosphere. You can see this in places like Morocco in the mountains, Kilimanjaro, where at night in the fog, they put their hands up and electricity dances on their fingertips. Now imagine being able to harness that from the ground when I told you lightning comes from the ground up, to be able to control that again. Well, we had buildings that can mitigate that factor, to which the enemy knows. But you are also the walking vessel of all this, to where you don't even need any of that. When they returned and analyzed the situation, all right. So anyway, they thought and analyzed several strategies and waited to see how the conflict with the humans would develop. But fearful of this uncertain future, they were. Another war was born in the known lands. This time, humanity would fight together with the giants against their former colonizer. The fierce battles fought cannot be described because it was really something that generated even fear in many of the other circles. Every day that the sun set piles of bodies from both sides were observed lying on the lands that were now only battlefields. There were areas covered by a vast and different vegetation that now was nothing more than sand and dead landscapes. Sounds familiar? The custodians, also weakened by the last war with the Anunnaki, saw that they lost all control and even feared that later their lands would also be attacked by humanity with a thirst for revenge. The opportunity to annihilate the custodians also left a great peace for the heavenly lands. The custodians, also weakened by the last war with the Anunnaki, so I'm going to say this again, saw that they lost all control and even feared that later their lands would also be attacked by humanity with a thirst for revenge. The opportunity to annihilate the custodians also left a great peace for the heavenly lands. Well, they're still running around us right now, controlling the media. How do you think they see? Who do you think the CIA is? Let me not say that, because there's people in there. Everything was headed towards an imminent victory, but something happened in the middle, and this was never achieved. Everything was heading towards an imminent victory, but something happened in the middle, and this was never achieved. The custodians had no choice but to return to Anunnaki lands in order to reach a new agreement with them. There was not much army left that could resist another war, but technology, and the Union was immediately taken in exchange for gold, among other things that we do not know, but that possibly have to do with the growth of humanity and the fear of future retaliation. Here it is worth clarifying that when the custodians had to leave to unify against the Anunnaki, they left in command an inferior race called Greys of Zeta Reticuli and Orion. They were used to control the Earths while they were gone, but according to the story, the Greys did not agree with the old treaty and the manipulation received. Then they were unconcerned, thinking that the human being would never rebel or grow in this way, much less imagine a union with a race of forgotten giants. These accepted as they also feared losing their lands at the end of the war, even to the giant humans who now had a large army and sought to free themselves from the custodial yoke in the known lands. The inevitable happened, and an unprecedented war took place in the center of those lands. The two forces used all their potential and potential and technology that they immediately put to the test. The giant humans, or rather the great Tartary of free energy, also possessed their own ships. Therefore, the war took place both on land, water, and air. Now do you have a better understanding that all these vehicles we see are not new? Described on the walls, people. Just as all the hands of many different colors, y'all called races, are in caves still being found today. Unfortunately, the giant human power could not resist throughout the harsh battles, and not having control of the environment that the custodians manipulated, this caused wear and tear and deterioration in the troops, as well as natural catastrophes that grew out of nowhere in important centers. Although, as I mentioned before, this will mark a before and after in all the surrounding worlds. I knew that if they lost this war, they were also somehow condemning future generations for several centuries. They always want us to look at 500 years. How about 7? Close to 8 now? Now you know why there's a map showing so-called Africa, all green, and we know that these years are different because the line so-called Vatican have taught these lies. And then all of a sudden you have a map now where there's desert. Even over here where I live, it was all green and plush, giant trees. They're on top of some of the mezzanines. Petrified. The giants had to escape from the land since defeat was inevitable, and their death was certain, and the custodians would never forgive the giants for having taken up arms and delivered forbidden knowledge to humans. Managing to escape where they had entered through the north and south passages. The north and south passages. Who remembers what I was reading about in Flatlandis about the north and the giants? Some humans followed them and also achieved this longed-for escape from the custodial yoke. The ancient souls of Asgard, Lemuria, and Atlantis that inhabited human bodies started from scratch in the lands outside the first dome known as the Ancestral Republic, and although hurt by a hard defeat, they had the hope to grow again and return with new strategies, now with 2 different missions, to liberate the human beings and to finish with the custodians. Human beings began in these new lands to connect with the source and understood their true past and importance. And Butler interrupted, saying that he had already talked to one of the leaders there and that they did not agree to help us. Not because they did not want to, but because they feared that their entire race might actually disappear, as almost happened last time. I told Butler of my concern for the lands of the Republic and also for the lands we had left behind, and he commented that he doubted they wanted to end up with humanity inside the walls, since all the resets to date, this seemed to be the one that had worked best for them. Besides, the Greys were also under their control and in turn helped to control the human in many other ways. Since there was a high mind control, basic and or fundamental issues were not dealt with, or if they were, they were easily found and reported with some mental problem, immediately sending the culprit to a psychiatric facility where they were easily and successfully controlled by other human members. Imagine if you went back there, William, and wanted to tell everything you experienced here or the information you gathered. If you had time to tell the others, they would not believe you and would quickly send you to confinement or possibly death itself. All this that I had heard gave me many answers that I never imagined I would ever hear. But it also generated many other questions. There was so much to process and everything was running very fast. It was fantastic. It was frantic, excuse me. According to Butler, we should leave the islands as soon as possible. And he did not even know his plan as usual. Yet he kept the strategy until the end. So we gathered the whole team to leave, and we were going to leave the lands of Thoth and leave behind the great Sheikh, who had given me the most important part of this puzzle that seemed indecipherable. A master key, my husband word, Scott, y'all know that story. A master key that opened so many worlds and possibilities. The lost history of the human being was in my hands. The boys began to ask me about this talk and also began to look through the book I was carrying with me. Butler also helped me to answer thousands of questions that arose, including mine. Between all of us, we tried to make this all logical as possible for our confused minds. While the sun went away and a strange night fell on us, one of the strangest in those lands, the sky was tinged with the purest red and generated a fire-like glow. Butler commented, that this fire is visible if you sail near the Antarctic ring. It looks like a giant bonfire in the distance. It was something we had even perceived before leaving the known lands. Even Ace Live mentioned that in his video when he arrived on his $15,000 trip to Antarctica. Chapter 8, El Arca, the prosperous capital. After spending that strange night of fire mixed with many theories that we were trying to deduce from Sheikh's book, it was a very strange sensation that we went from extreme to extreme to think that we were a point far away from everything, and we had come to understand from one minute to another that we were the source, that conscious energy of the celestial lands that lived in each one of us and also united us to the ancestral humans and to all those who had lost their lives in each reset, manipulated and hidden. The ancestors. We began to spot birds fluttering around our ship, denoting that we were approaching land. Although we expected it, we could not confirm it with the captain all the way. But the city that awaited us was again El Arca, the modern capital of the ancestral republic. The first rain since we arrived in these lands began to fall very slowly, just when I was beginning to think that in these latitudes there was no such phenomenon. The lights of the city were coming on in the distance. This immense city, there's no punctuation. That should have been the end. I'm serious, y'all. I can show you. I'm like just reading on, man. The first rain since we arrived in these lands began to fall very slowly. It's got to be a comma there, because it goes, just when I was beginning to think in these latitudes, there was no such phenomenon, period. I believe that's how it should be. The lights of the city were coming on in the distance. This immense city of El Arca was an invitation to imagination and confidence that such a perfect and peaceful life could be possible, also in the dark environment between the ice walls, without the control of the custodians or any intruder race among us. It was unbelievable. We also began to understand that simplicity was what made everything else great. Stepping on the grass with bare feet, the birds perching in the most modern harbor, the very rain that gave it a tinge of melancholy, gray from the sadness of thinking that not all of humanity was going to be able to witness what our eyes were seeing right now. Even though we had lived through a furious attack and the most devastating we had ever seen, this immense city gave us the assurance that all would be well. that this could never fall. Millions never fall. Millions of ancestors were living their lives as close to what we once dreamed of as children. What we dreamed of for future generations, actually, a place of peace and love where there is no pain or suffering, where work does not mean exploitation, and where there is no dirty politics or wars for territorial power. No discrimination or stereotypes that allows you to see something else, right? No social difference. Everything is shared and happiness is breathed. Welcome to the ancestral republic was heard in the distance, in their own clear language, according to Butler's translation. What was Butler's plan now, we wondered. The captain commented that we would get lost and investigate by immersing ourselves a little inside the city. Remember that nothing could be bought with gold or use money since they used another form of exchange there, he explained. The plan was not clear, but he would immediately meet with Fael and other leaders from different important places in the Republic. The boys got lost in the city and I was left alone, pensive amidst the torrential rain that fell on my face, although of calm appearance. Dejected inside, I kept sinking in my deep thoughts of a human future that could not be. How to overcome this shared misfortune, I asked myself again and again. Now, I still had so much to discover in that great book of Shiki. When I find any halo of calm in it, this information received had fallen worse on me than on the rest. I now felt guilty somehow that I could not do anything to free the millions that were behind, and that in addition, we had been persecuted and attacked in these distant lands. What heart resists before such an onslaught? What heart could not suffer for the now distant brothers that still remained within this vile environment? Right here, y'all. Many hours had passed, and I was walking through the streets of this colorful city, and some few people were crossing my path. I felt their understandable strange look. My way of dressing was not suitable for this modernity. I felt like a caveman, even worse. If I tried to talk to them, so I continued my way, only observing. That was his own personal antagonism. Would they understand that we were brothers and shared the same suffering? And a myriad of questions crossed my mind at every step, and the few people I looked deeply in the eyes. One man even attempted to talk to me, but I only managed to wave my hands, explaining that I did not understand what he was telling me. I only said Fael, as if to answer a name known to all, and this man pointed to a large building a few blocks away. There were not even puddles of water that accumulated. The whole system was perfectly functioning so that it did not generate any flooding. Modernity, the modernness of the damn place, all right, hit my face so many times that it was difficult to interrupt. Modernity, all right, I guess is the word. Second time I think I see that. I dare not even mentioning the drawings that came out of the walls that projected human interpreting, and the most beautiful melodies that sweeten the ears of passerbys. It's like the bells and the organs of old, right? I returned to the porch somewhat crestfallen. I had everything. Excuse me. I had everything a person needed in front of my eyes. I was before absolute happiness, but the pain of not being able to share it generated an immense sadness in me. I also kept seeing the faces of the people who fell and reborn. The ones that, when the bomb hit, killed over a quarter. Butler was returning driving a modern vehicle. When he saw me, he stopped it and invited me to get in. His face transmitted some joy. Then he commented to me, "William, we have not been able to get the Anakim to help us directly. It is understandable, you know. They do not want to risk their entire race again. But I know that they will help us in the long run. We have won this battle, and we do not believe that the custodians will attack these lands again for a long time. We gave them a lesson that our technology is still more alive than ever, and they tested us, and I assure you that they came back with fear. Then he continued explaining to me with some questions that I could ask on our way to the port of El Arca. Apparently, the Guardians were not aware of the technology that had been developing the Ancestral Republic in the last 100 years in conjunction with the Anakin race. They thought that this attack would make them directly tremble and possibly surrender immediately, as happened in ancient times in Asgard and other lands. This had to be taken advantage of in the following years if we were to have a chance to regain the known lands and free the brethren from the last reset. But all should be careful. Any move that is not planned in advance could cause another reset and the death of millions. Now do you see the importance of why the nuclear weapons were created and the hydrogen bombs? Do you think that testing them on Japan was without a purpose? Do you think Japanese striking out was without a purpose? Yet you listen to the story. In Germany, the same. And to be able to convince the rest of the world to be stupid and fight against those who actually were working to free motherfuckers and to put race out there when they had enemies on their back behind their lines to betray them. So how do you think Japan and Germany fell? Because they were betrayed inside, and you could never know the truth of what was really happening. That's my opinion. That's not fact. That's just my opinion. So later on, we'll read chapter 14, the artificial walls. Okay? Oh, it's Saturday. Hopefully you didn't go out and get a hangover and all that other stuff. So now that you get what I'm saying, I'm only putting this out there because you are powerful, and that's a fact. Now, as far as the book, that's, for me, this is entertainment. Me making statements clearly is based on an opinion that is not solely mine, but I've gotten and that I've looked at in my travels. Kind of makes sense to me. Shit I can do about it. I know that this is the last hurrah. However you want to see it, you believe it at whatever you want. Do I believe there's something out there? Of course. Do I believe there's something in here? Of course I do. Does it mean that I'm right or wrong? It doesn't matter. So I'm going to give a shout out. Appreciate everybody taking the time to listen. But I'm going to finish this lime water. I'm going to lay back, catch about 45 minutes more nap, meditate a little bit, and get myself ready to come back and read a little more. And we might read a little bit of the Book of Giants first. I like to read that book on every reading because it's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. You dig what I'm saying? What's up? What's going on? Reploid. You was first in the house. What up, girl? Yeah, I had to snatch it up. Rondo, what's going on, Ken, folks? APJR. What's happening? What's happening? Lord, what's cracking? APJR, how you be hitting all the time? Caramel, what's up, beloved? What's happening? Peace, beloved. Yeah, every once in a while it might pop up, but most of the time when I'm reading it, I don't see nothing but me in the camera. I wonder how those human beings connected with the source. Ace Live. See, that's it. And he's in Antarctica. On the ready. All right. So yeah, it's good reading. I read it before. It's in the older videos. They're getting some views. Thank goodness, people starting to come around. But people have to look at things a little different from how they've been looking at things. And I know the argument mind and the unconscious conscious and the dead soul wants to argue, but there's good brothers who are out there doing the work, like Kiramil, Costa Rican brother right there. That's kinfolk. Y'all better know that's blood right there. And there's many others. The only female I'll listen to yelling and screaming is Empress. That's the only one. Everybody else just need to shut the fuck up. Does that mean I'm knocking Phoenix and what? No, she just needs to get her act together because she's acting like a Fed. I don't care what anybody says. You can talk all that wonderful shit, but I know drug dealers and people that know you, and you come over here. That's why I had to do what I had to say before. You and your sister acting like y'all control something. That's that liberal-minded, but yet pushing some other vernacular. That's no hate. You got to be called out for how you're moving. And some people just don't move well. They don't move at all. None of your business. What's going on? That's law. It said human means monk. Yes, it means sea beast or land beast. It does, just like child and kid. It has nothing to do with man or woman. And that's that. It's like they're dealing with everybody like they're commerce or dead things. And who would do that? What man or woman would do that? Other than the ones who are conditioned or that look like us, but are not us. What's up, Papa? You better eat some of that cat food. He over there sniffing it. You better eat it. Come over this way. I said, you better eat some of that cat food. He's eating. That is beautiful. Anywho, we're gonna get to a point. You're gonna get to a point. I'm only entertaining certain parameters. You're gonna get to a point where I'm gonna be able to come on and read and not say nothing, and you'll know exactly. I wish you was there now because I don't really talking all this because no fair or nothing. I'm just saying to me it feels like it's a waste of time. But I know it isn't because a lot of y'all are not thinking that way. I'm not attempting to. I'm attempting to help you sculpt something, another vision, but another way. But I'm not here to change you. You gotta work on you and allow whatever, because your change is going to be different from mine. Yet the illumination is the source. I can't comment on something I know exists, I believe in. But you got to bring it to the surface. And there ain't no religion or anything that's going to bring it to the surface. Nothing out there. You must know certain things that are taboo, or dig up things that have been hidden or put to the side. Some things were hidden, not to be hidden, but for you to find, to keep you conflicted and confused, to keep division. When you start tapping it just into the source of you and bringing it to the surface, it's a whole different thing. And trust me when I tell you this, it is different. To use other faculties, yeah, you just learn how to do it. Yeah. All right. Great Wolf, what's cracking, brother? You've got to tap into these things. It's different. So I probably won't eat until about. I'm gonna have a solid meal this afternoon. Probably about 11 or 2. Oh, about 1 or 2, maybe 3. I think, what was that? 2 days ago when I ate at 4 o'clock. It was the only meal I ate. Well, I consumed. I'm using language you can understand. I really detest the word ate, consumed. I detest these words. But whatever I consumed or partook of, that was the only one that day. Yesterday, y'all saw me with the black bean burger, but I have a bison burger down there too. I might suck that down. I don't know, and put some avocado in. I got my organic lettuce and some tomatoes and red onion. So I'll probably dress the thing up with more vegetables than the bison in it, but I'm gonna enjoy it. Like I said, when they come down, they come up. How we gonna look at it, and we enjoy. Have a good time shooting and whatever thing. I'm gonna commit to that fast, and allow myself to go somewhere else, and I will share that. I'm not worried about them looking. I know they've seen greater things than that. So this is mediocre. That's why I'm saying this, y'all. I guarantee you they've seen some shit. So just know that there are certain things that can happen that can trigger. They can blow all of us to hell. But there are certain individuals that they would trigger. There would be no coming back from this time. I've seen it. I've literally seen it. And I've conveyed with certain individuals. The reason why I leave my phone in the truck now, because sometimes I see individuals and I know they're going to say something to me outside of a camera. And sometimes we've been in passing, and others have seen it. So they're going to trigger something, regardless of the little stupid stuff they're about to do. Now, I could say the easiest thing for them to do, but wait another couple 100 years, but I don't think the other ones are going to allow that. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Anyway, look, y'all have a grand day. All right. I don't really want to know none of this shit, actually. I'll be honest with you, fucker, for real. But like I said, there's other people besides them who are watching, watching as well. And motherfucker reach out and say something to you, be like, huh? What? Excuse you? And they look at you. And he be like, motherfucker, no, nigga, you got me. Then you realize, oops, that was a mistake. And you can't tell the bad guys from the good guys or the good guys from the bad guys. You know. Some motherfuckers walking around, man, are beyond the scope of smart. That's why I'm telling you, you are more powerful than you think. And you really need to snap into it, snap out of it. Snap out of where you're at, and snap into who you really are. Yeah. Don't worry, this vessel could be destroyed, y'all. Trust me. Yeah. Now there's a level that where they can't do shit. But nobody's there. At least none of us. Ours is just intuition. That's all. Just for you to feel that, just to know. And when I tell you have 14 to 16 generations of history in your so-called DNA, whatever that word is, nucleic acid, whatever, you have in you 12, 14, 16 generations of information. I just want you to be able to tap into that, and you'll see things. A lot of times when you see it, you don't know what it is because everybody else is using the same dumbed down words. Oh, you had a dream, or you just I keep telling you in your dreams and your meditations to look for yourself, to find you. Just do that. When you see your face, it'll look kind of weird. It won't look like how you're looking right now. It's different. And it will take you on a journey. Each one of them are short, but you'll be, and I'm talking about while you're awake, meditating, looking at your eyelids, back of your eyelids, getting your acupressure, paying attention to you, raising the other things, being dynamic, you know, allowing yourself to see and perceive, touching yourself, finding the right places to know, to massage and exercise these points. This is acupressure to mitigate different responses 30 times, sometimes the reverse, to breathe, to clear out the toxins in your glands, to deal with your heart in a different way. You know what I'm saying? These things are very important. These are not just like Qigong and Qigong, just like Tai Chi. When you get in the cloud hands, there's a reason why it's called cloud hands, and you articulate your hips, and you look away, and you bring it in. And when you're doing this, and then these things are very important, from the raising, when you're pushing down, and then bringing them in, and switching it. All the way to finding a center and knowing that you're balanced. And then going back into it, finding your center and breathing. And articulating your right responses, going down to the horse stance and allowing your bodies and your muscles to shake. And to deep breathe again. Just aiming to chant the Om. Om. And finding that and raising that tone in your ear. And allowing yourself to manipulate you instead of being manipulated to block interference. All right? Anyway, y'all have a good day. I appreciate and respect you all. Again, appreciate the $10 bundle. It's still sitting there. I'm waiting until I get about enough to order a few more books. But, you know, Appreciate it, brother. All right. And Rick, you know, you broke me off, and we got a whole bunch. We got some, and we got some more coming in. I got to pick up. So I don't know why they didn't put it in the box with the key. They got a big old box. They could have put everything in there with a key. I'm going to ask them, be like, why did you not put it in there? Probably something I have to sign for, y'all. But anyway, see y'all shortly. A couple hours, okay? Y'all have a grand one.